UK train stabbing leaves 10 injured, 9 critical. Kenyan landslide kills 21 after heavy rainfall. Hello, good afternoon and salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Otto Othman and you're watching World Today. UK police arrested 2 suspects after a mass stabbing on a London-bound train late Saturday that left 10 people in hospital, 9 likely with life-threatening injuries. Armed police, backed by police cars and a fleet of ambulances, swarmed a railway station in the eastern rural town of Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire, after the alarm was raised about the attack and the train brought to a halt. Dozens of emergency vehicles were deployed at the station, and people were being led away in space blankets, according to media reports. Train operator London North Eastern Railway (LNER) said all its railway lines had been closed, while emergency services dealt with the incident at Huntingdon Station. A witness described seeing a man with a large knife and told the Times newspaper there was blood everywhere as people hid in the washrooms. Cambridgeshire police said a number of people have been taken to hospital. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the appalling incident was deeply concerning. British Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood also expressed sadness over the stabbings, saying her thoughts are with those affected. Knife crime in England and Wales has been steadily rising since 2011, according to official government data. Special police forces patrolled the blood-stained alleys of the village of Vorizia on the Greek island of Crete on Saturday after a 39-year-old man and a 56-year-old woman were killed and several people were injured in a shooting police described as a family vendetta. The suspected shooters opened fire early in the morning, leaving at least 10 people injured. Police said 4 people have been transferred to hospital, among them 2 men whose role in the shooting is under investigation. A police official said the attack followed an explosion on Friday night at a construction site where a bomb was placed. Crete has a history of violent vendettas between families over disputes driven by revenge, hurt honor, and perceived insults. A police squad from Athens was also dispatched to Crete to patrol the village. 2 more suspects, a man and a woman, arrested this week over the jewel heist at the Louvre, were on Saturday charged and remanded in custody, according to prosecutors. Now that brings to 4 the number of people now charged over the spectacular robbery. The latest to be charged, a 38-year-old woman and a 37-year-old man, were arrested on Wednesday, along with 3 other individuals, prosecutors said in a released statement, adding that the other 3 have now been released without charge. She has been charged with complicity in organized crime or theft and the criminal conspiracy with a view to preparing a crime. The man, meanwhile, was charged with organized theft and criminal conspiracy with a view to preparing a crime. Last month, thieves wielding power tools raided the Louvre, the world's most visited art museum, in broad daylight, taking just 7 minutes to steal jewelry worth an estimated of $102 million. French authorities initially announced the arrest of 2 male suspects over the Louvre robbery, and this week, prosecutors said that police had arrested 5 more people, including a main suspect. The Kenyan government has confirmed that 21 people have died following a landslide in the western part of the country after heavy rainfall. Interior Minister Kipchumba Murkomen said more than 30 people were still unaccounted for after being reported missing by their families, while 25 people with serious injuries had been airlifted to receive further medical attention. The Kenyan Red Cross, which is helping to coordinate rescue efforts, said that the most affected areas are still not accessible by road due to mudslides and also flash flooding. Kenya is in its second rainy season when it usually experiences a few weeks of wet weather compared to a heavier, more prolonged period earlier in the year. The government has urged people living near seasonal rivers as well as areas that experience landslides to move to safer ground. Meanwhile, flash flooding and landslides in Uganda near the border of Kenya have also killed a number of people since last Wednesday. The Red Cross said continuous heavy rainfall had caused river Astiri and the river Sipi to overflow, resulting in widespread destruction of homes, crop fields, and community infrastructure.
Peralatan elektrik 5 bintang memberikan perkhidmatan 5 bintang.
Coming up, Timor-Leste's participation strengthens ASEAN's image. Timor-Leste's official entry as the 11th member of ASEAN proves that the regional bloc is not only a dynamic economic institution, but also an inclusive and comprehensive one in supporting the development of small and developing countries in the region. Foreign Affairs Strategy and Security Analyst at University of Malaya, Collins Chong Yu Kit, said that Timor-Leste's entrant also reinforces the narrative that ASEAN is committed to closing the development gap, as it is done for Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. According to Collins, the move enables ASEAN to actively maintain its centrality and non-alignment principles while seeking to foster internal cohesions and expand economic ties with other regions.
Ada nilai tambahnya pada ASEAN sebab Timor Leste juga ada jaringan yang mungkin agak terpencil dari segi pulangan jangka panjang, banyak memihak kepada pulangan berangkai secara positif kepada Timor Leste dari segi pulangan ekonomi, pulangan kepada pelaburan, pembangunan infrastruktur dan juga rangkaian dasar luar yang lebih meluas.
Collins noted that the recently concluded ASEAN summit sent a clear message that the bloc remains an emerging regional power, earning attention and respect from major global powers. It strives to broaden its economic and defense autonomy by deepening engagement with major powers such as India, Australia, and Japan, alongside a range of Western and non-Western partners. Approximately 1 in 8 Americans receive food stamp benefits from the U.S. government, a program at risk of losing its funding as on Saturday due to the government shutdown. Since the federal government shuttered on 1st October due to ongoing budget disagreements between Republicans and Democrats in Congress, President Donald Trump's administration has announced it would no longer be able to fund the Federal Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, as of Saturday, the first cessation since the program began 6 decades ago. A federal judge stepped in Friday and ordered the government to use emergency funds to keep SNAP running. And Trump said he aimed to comply. But many recipients have had their aid disrupted amid the bureaucratic tug-of-war. For Houston city dwellers, thousands of people who did not receive their food stamps or fear they will not get them in the near future lined up outside NRG Stadium, where the Houston Food Bank is distributing fruit and non-perishable food items. The food bank's president, Brian Green, when met, said that the SNAP stoppage efforts or affects about 425,000 households just in the Houston area.
At our local football stadium, NRG Park, home of the Houston Texans, and we will serve about 5,000 families at one time to try and take pressure off of the area pantries.
Despite a judicial order to resume funding SNAP during the shutdown, it would take several days for the states to restart the program, Green explained, adding that they all had to stop because they were out of money. Barack Obama headlined a rally Saturday in Virginia to try to secure a victory for the state's Democratic gubernatorial candidate, who leads the polls days before the election. The former president moved between criticizing Donald Trump and Republican policy and rhetoric with a bit of humor, while also explaining how Abigail Stumberger could help counter what Democrats see as the country's downward trajectory. Elections are scheduled to be held in the United States in large part on 4th November. The off-year election includes gubernatorial and state legislative elections in a few states, as well as numerous mayoral races, and a variety of other local offices are on ballot. Democratic norms in the United States are buckling under pressure from the Trump administration, according to Obama, as Republicans in Congress, the Supreme Court, and business leaders refuse to check President Trump's autocratic impulses.
Worried about how quickly basic democratic rules and norms have been weakened. I'm worried about how willing Republicans in Congress have been to surrender their role as members of a co-equal branch of government, refusing to buck the president even when they know he's out of line. Not just business leaders.
Marquee elections Tuesday include the mayoral election in New York City, 2 gubernatorial races in Virginia and New Jersey, and a Democrat-backed ballot proposition in California intended to counter likely Republican gains in House seats as a result of redistricting. Bangladesh's dock workers escalated a strike on Saturday at the country's biggest port, Chattogram, protesting plans by the interim government to lease operating licenses to a foreign company. Now, the walkout, which began in small numbers in October, has now grown to around 200 workers at the port, Bangladesh's main trade gateway and a vital hub in the global garment supply chain. Chattogram Port Authority Chairman S.M. Moniruzman said foreign export operators would increase the foreign investment and enhance the efficiency. Bangladesh, the world's second-largest garment exporter, relies heavily on Chattogram Port, formerly known as Chittagong, and strategically located on the Bay of Bengal for most of its imports and exports. According to state-run news agency BSS, UAE-based DP World has also expressed interest in operating the port's new mooring container terminal and Danish shipping giant AP Moller Maersk in the Ladia container terminal on the city's outskirts. In October, Muhammad Yusuf, Senior Secretary at the Ministry of Shipping, said the agreements are expected to be signed by December with Bangladesh's interim administration. And the port move has sparked anger among some, but supporters say foreign expertise could modernize operations. Coming up in sports, Wei Chong Kai-Woon bow out in Kailo Open semi-finals.
Pentas Liga Super terus bergelora. Dari seberang laut, DPMMFC dengan benteng utuh yang sukar dirobohkan. Kini bakal menguji kemampuan skuad Hobin Jang Hobin. Nantikan saingan sengit bagi memburu puncak kuasa bola sepak tempatan. Ahad 2 November, DPMMFC bertemu Negeri Sembilan FC 7.30 malam di saluran OK dan saluran sukan RTM. Juga penstreaman langsung di RTM Click.
Men's doubles Man Wei Chong, T Kai-Woon could not cap their European tour with a final appearance at the Hilo Open in Saarbrücken, Germany last night. Now, the Malaysian world number 5 pair lost 21-16, 21-15 to Indonesia's world number 11 Sabar Kalyaman-Kutama Reza Pahlavi Isfahani in the semi-finals at the Jarlanthal Indoor Arena. In the first game, Wei Chong, Kai Woon gave themselves too much to do after trailing 16-5 at one point. They did claw back points to make the score respectable, but it was too little too late. In the second game, they kept the score close, trailing at the mid-game interval 10-11. However, they later completely lost their momentum as the Indonesians took over and closed the match. The Indonesians now lead their head-to-head record 3-1. Wei Chong, Kai Woon were the only Malaysians left in the tournament after Aaron Chia, So Woo Yik were sent home by Sabar Reza in the quarter-finals on Friday. Now, despite the setback, Wei Chong, Kai Woon can take heart from a solid showing on the European circuit, having reached the quarter-finals of the French Open last week before advancing to the last four in Germany.
Good defense. It's wide.
Italy's Yannick Sinner defeated Germany's Alexander Zverev 6-love, 6-1 on Saturday, advancing to the final of the Paris Masters, where he will face Canada's Félix Auger-Aliassime and continue his quest to reclaim the world #1 ranking. The four-time Grand Slam winner and second seed in Paris broke Zverev's serve in the opening game and took the first set 6-love in 30 minutes and 11 winners, while the German, who appeared to be feeling the effect of his grueling 2-6, 6-3, 7-6 quarter-final victory over Daniil Medvedev, managed only one. The 28-year-old Zverev finally managed to hold serve in the opening game of the second set, but Sinner closed out with the match in just over an hour, securing his first appearance in the Paris Masters final. Sinner's path to the top of the ATP rankings opened up after six-time Grand Slam champion Carlos Alcaraz suffered a surprise defeat to Britain's Cameron Norrie in the round of 32 on Tuesday. A victory for the 24-year-old Italian in Sunday's match would see him overtake the Spaniard. The battle for the year-end world #1 ranking will be decided at the ATP Finals in Turin starting 9th November. With his win against the third seed Zverev, Sinner extended his impressive winning streak on indoor hard courts on 25 matches. World #2 Iga Swiatek began her quest for a second WTA Finals trophy with a 6-1, 6-2 win over Australian Open champion Madison Keys in their round-robin clash at the season-ending championship on Saturday. The 2023 champion made a fast start in the Riyadh showpiece, winning 12 of the first 14 points to take a 3-game to nothing lead as a rusty Keys struggled to find rhythm on serve in her first match since a stunning US Open first-round defeat in late August. Swiatek continued to pile on the pressure on her American opponent, who looked out of sorts in her first appearance in the season finale since her debut in 2016 and the pole race away to take the opening set, dropping only one game. The pair swapped breaks at the start of the second set, but an untimely double fault from Keys handed the advantage back to Swiatek, who made no mistake from there to wrap up the victory on serve in only 61 minutes. The tournament, which featured the top 8 singles players and doubles teams in the world, culminates with the finals in King's Saudi University Sports Arena on 8 November. Cristiano Ronaldo maintained Al Nassr's perfect start to the Saudi Pro League season with late winner from the penalty spot against Al Fahia early this morning. Now the 40-year-old skipper combined with summer signing Kingsley Coman to equalize in the 37th minute after Spanish forward Jason had put the visitors in front. Five-time Ballon d'Or winner Ronaldo then stepped up again to provide late heroics in the 14th minute to stoppage time with essentially the last kick of the match from the penalty spot. Jorge Jesus' side have now won 7 straight games to start the league campaign and hold a 3-point lead over Al Hilal, who slid down to 3rd place. Al Fahia, meanwhile, sit 10th on 8 points. Ronaldo's match-winning brace moved him on the 8 league goals for the season, and he has netted each of his last 5 outings for his club. The 40-year-old is yet to win the league in Saudi Arabia since moving in 2023 following his departure from Manchester United. Now, Ronaldo has also been on the losing side in all three finals he has contested with Al Nassr. This streak includes a penalty shootout defeat at Al Hilal in the 2023-24 Kings Cup, followed by back-to-back losses in the Saudi Super Cup, a 4-1 thrashing by Al Hilal in 2024, and subsequent penalty shootout defeat at Al Hilal in 2025. Sam Surridge and Josh Brewer each scored goals to help host Nashville SC top Inter Miami FC or CF in 2-1 on Saturday night, and even their first-round MLS Cup playoff series at 1-1. Nashville SC snapped a 10-game winless streak against Inter Miami and forced a decisive Game 3 that will be played next Saturday. And it was Nashville's first win over Inter Miami since May 2023. Inter Miami, which led MLS this season in goals with 81 goals, was unable to muster much offensive pressure on Nashville's goalkeeper Joe Willis until almost midday through the second half. On a rainy night in Nashville, Surridge ended the drought quickly after converting a penalty kick in the 9th minute, just moments after drawing a foul inside the box from Inter Miami goalkeeper Rocco Rios Novo. Nashville struck again just before halftime in the 45th minute when Brewer controlled a corner kick by Han Mukhtar, and as he was sliding in, kicked the ball past Rios Novo to give his team their second goal. Lionel Messi finally found the mark in the 90th minute when he took feed from the Rodrigo de Paul and lifted a shot from the corner of the box with his left foot past Willis to cut the deficit in half. But despite 6 minutes of added time, Inter Miami was unable to muster the equalizer, which would have sent the game to a penalty kick-out shootout. Up next, Athens Cafe goes all out for Halloween. Raclette enthusiasts from across the globe gathered in Swiss village of Morgins to celebrate the second edition of the Raclette World Championships, where more than 150 varieties of cheese were being judged. Cheesemakers from 13 countries were competing for the title of the world's finest raclette, a traditional Swiss dish born centuries ago where Alpine herdsmen would heat a wheel of cheese by the fire and scrape off the melted layer for a hearty meal. The atmosphere in the judging room was quiet and focused as cheeses were evaluated in an elimination round with judges from the public and industry before going up against the taste buds of a super jury panel of experts. Juries said they evaluated the cheese's appearance first and then the texture. The juries also said the competition aimed to promote cheese making and find the best cheeses for making raclette. Enthusiasts of the vintage penny farthing bicycle model gathered in a park in Prague on Saturday, showcasing their cycling skills to intrigue onlookers. Adorned in historical attire, cyclists participated in formation rides, synchronized to music, and competed in races that tested both speed and balance.
V letošním roce nám přálo počasí, nejenom, že bylo sucho, ale i nám zasvítilo sluníčko, což je pro nás vždycky extra bonus. Reje pánů velocipedistů se jeli znovu po dlouhé době ve 13 jezdcích, což je velmi obtížné. Běžně jezdíme 9, maximálně 12, dnes jsme natrénovali pro diváky 13. Povedlo se to a nikdo nespadnul, takže máme z toho velkou radost.
The Czech Velocipedist Club, responsible for organizing the event, stated on its website that the first bicycle ride in what is now the Czech Republic occurred in 1868. Penny farthings, characterized by their distinctive large front and small rear wheel design, were first introduced around 1870, gaining popularity until the 1880s. The advent of bicycles with two evenly sized wheels and chains, the model that most contemporary bicycles are based on, eventually replaced them. A theme cafe in downtown Athens has brought a taste of Halloween to the city, where the event is not traditionally celebrated, pulling out all the stops with its overflowing and elaborate displays of pumpkins, skeletons, and witches. Preparing the design of the displays began months in advance, says Little Cook Cafe designer Kostas Zortsis, 42, and as long as a week to set up by a team of some 10 people, primarily at night when the cafe is closed, with thousands of objects that are imported or made by the design team.
Δεν έχω όριο και μέτρο στο τι σκέφτομαι, στο πόσα πράγματα θέλω κάθε φορά. Για μένα το παραπάνω μπορεί πολλές φορές να είναι και λίγο. Είμαι λίγο maximal σαν χαρακτήρα στα πάντα. Και η αλήθεια είναι ότι πολλές φορές αρκετοί αναρωτιούνται, μα πώς γίνεται τόσα πολλά πράγματα να χωράνε σε ένα χώρο.
Halloween is not a traditional holiday in Greece and is known more to Greeks from American films. When the first Halloween theme was displayed at the cafe in 2015, it was unusual to many, with even some locals seeing the decor as something unholy in the Orthodox country. Now, locals take photographs with the displays and even show up in costumes. In recent years, however, with more foreign residents and tourists in the country, Halloween has gained in popularity, with shops selling decorations, cafes and restaurants decorating and hosting Halloween parties, and Halloween festivals for kids at parks in Athens. Halloween went to the dogs in Peru on Friday as furry companions strutted down a festive catwalk in a costume contest that inspired smiles and wagging tails. Dressed as pirates, superheroes, bees, and even wearing wigs, pets and their proud owners gathered in Lima's Magdalena neighborhood to take part in the costume contest. The activity was part of the Halloween Pets event, where 30 animal shelters brought some 80 dogs and cats for adoption, and a vet campaign, according to Magdalena's mayor, Francis Allison. Many cities in Peru host events for pets, particularly dogs, to celebrate Halloween. These range from large-scale parades to smaller costume contests. Well, that concludes today's edition of World Today. In our top story, UK train stabbing leaves 10 injured, 9 critical. Till then, I'm Otto Othman, Malaysia Madani, Rakyat Disantuni. Thanks for watching.